Goblins are mythical creatures that are said to have roamed the earth one time or another. Many believe these creatures have long been wiped out, but what if I told you otherwise? Within the state of Ohio, in a small town named Akron, there's undeniable evidence that goblins still walk among us. In today's video, we will be discussing the one and only Chance Wilkins, better known as Cyraxx, and the absolute chaos, misfortune, and evil that seems to follow him wherever he may roam. Now, before we start our journey, I think it is needed to add a content warning here because there is a lot of crazy stuff that happens, a lot of crimes, a lot of very, very bad crimes happen within this timeline, as well as some really, really disgusting stuff that isn't illegal. It's just very gross. So if you have issues with that, you might want to reconsider because there's a lot of it here. But anyway, to those who have decided to stick around, let's jump right into the action. Born September 20th, 1990 in Kenai, Alaska, Chance was the second child of his parents, Connie Lobdell and Rupel Smith. However, his brother was taken away by Child Protective Services before Chance was born. Chance's parents originally gave him the name of Danielle Smith. That was before they had found out he was a hermaphrodite, which is a rare medical condition where a person is born with both male and female sexual reproductive organs. Upon discovery of this, they had decided to change his name to Patrick Smith. Chance would also face a multitude of health complications that were caused by being born prematurely at just 6 months. These complications included scoliosis, an underdeveloped lung, being born severely underweight, and only having one kidney. It is also speculated that Chance has some form of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder due to his mother's alleged drinking and drug use while she was pregnant, which would also go on to explain the premature birth and subsequent health complications. Chance's mother, Connie, was said to have been developmentally challenged and faced her own list of health issues as well. As for his father, Rupel, there's not a whole lot of information around about him, but it is known that he was extremely physically abusive towards Connie during her pregnancy, as well as the 1994 bike path incident, where Rupel Smith would go on to blindfold a 14-year-old girl, dragging her off the bike path she was using, and proceed to assault her. Rupel might have actually gotten away with the crime if it weren't for his immense stupidity, as the police had released a sketch of Rupel asking the public for help to identify the assailant. Rupel had seen this and called in on himself, saying he looked exactly like the sketch, but it wasn't him, attempting to throw off investigators. However, this would end poorly as he would end up being arrested. His home would later be searched by authorities, who found evidence connecting him to the crime. After his conviction, the authorities had once again stepped in and deemed Connie unfit to take care of Chance, who was just 3 years old at the time. This was the event that led to Chance being adopted by his grandmother, Sally Wilkins. After his adoption, Sally and her husband at the time, Gordon Wilkins, changed Cyraxx's name from Patrick to Chance, as he was given a new chance at life. It was also around this time that Sally and Gordon had split up, leading Sally and Chance to move from Atlanta to Florida, where Chance attended school and spent his childhood. On Chance's 17th birthday in 2007, tragedy had struck as his mother passed away in a house fire. The following year, the Wilkins gang moved to the famed city of Akron, Ohio. It is here where Chance would build his reputation and one day become king. At 18, Chance would begin to attend Garfield High School, presumably named after the orange cat. During his time at Garfield High, Chance would perform poorly academically and was bullied relentlessly due to his appearance. However, he did manage to make 2 friends during his high school arc, those being Kat and Blind Billy, who we'll be coming back to in a bit. It was also around this time that Chance had found his love for music, especially the band Linkin Park. This love for music would later inspire Chance to pursue a career in music. We will soon see that he is not musically gifted whatsoever, but refuses to accept this fact. Getting back on track, in 2012, Chance would have his first of many encounters with a catfish, who was pretending to be a girl interested in him. This would lead to an argument between Chance and Sally, as Chance wanted to hitchhike to Kansas to meet his sweetheart. This argument would only escalate when Sally attempted to stop him, causing a major meltdown. He would then go on to physically assault Sally, earning himself free ride in the back of a police car and being charged with 1 count of domestic violence. This charge would eventually be reduced to disorderly conduct after taking a plea deal, landing him 30 days in the can.
20 years in the can.
As well as having to attend anger management classes and having to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. In reference to this incident, Chance would go on record saying he was young and dumb and couldn't have known any better, completely dismissing his violent behavior against his elderly grandmother. The police report from the incident reads as follows. Victim states she and the suspect were arguing because he wanted to take his belongings and move to Kansas. Victim states he has nothing lined up or planned for a move to Kansas and told him he could not take his things from the house. victim states the argument quickly turned physical when the suspect began to choke her, grab her arms, and punch her in the back. Suspect fled on foot and was apprehended without incident. It was also in 2012 that Chance made his first appearance online, starting his first YouTube channel, simply known as Chance Wilkins, where he would upload music videos. During this time, Chance adopted many online aliases, two of which were stolen from musician Eric Scrublow, who had signed Cyraxx to his record label out of pity. Chance and Eric crossed paths as they were both part of the Juggalo community, which is a name given to fans of the rap group Insane Clown Posse. Chance would be part of this community for a while until he managed to piss them off enough that he was eventually forced to leave. We will cover more of the Juggalo arc later. Some of the other names used by Chance during this time included Virus with a Z, Cyraxx spelled Psyraxx, DK Customs / Customs with a Z or an S, interchangeable I guess, and DJ Otaku. That's probably my favorite one. On July 5th, 2012, Cyraxx would upload one of his most well-known videos. In this video titled Me Beating Chester Bennington's 18-second scream, Chance would attempt to beat the world record for longest metal scream that was set by Chester Bennington, frontman for the band Linkin Park. During this video, Chance would get real up close and personal with the camera, showing off his jacked up chompers and looking like a creature from out of this world. In the following year of 2013, Chance had committed one of, if not his most evil acts to date. Chance was spending the night at his friend Billy's house, and at first, all seemed to be going well, with the two staying up into the late hours playing video games. At around 12 to 1 a.m., Billy stated he was lying on the floor on his stomach, when suddenly, Chance had removed his pants and underwear. He then began to assault Billy. Billy would go on to inform the school, who would in turn inform the police. This story was brought to light by Chance himself in 2017. He told the story on a live stream, claiming he was the one taken advantage of and was expelled from school for being victimized.
Unfortunately, when I was 16 to 17 years old, around that time period, I was actually raped by one of my best friends from high school. Now, at the time, I didn't know that he was gay. I had actually met this kid. His name was Billy Seiler. We had gone to the same high school together. And me and him grew really, really close. We were super cool with each other. And at first, I didn't take him as gay. I just took him as, being, that weird kid in high school that's just, really strange and, an oddball kind of person. I'm laying there half asleep. Next thing I know, I feel a fucking arm come around me. And unfortunately, I felt my pants get ripped down, and from there everything happened. And before I knew what happened, I fucking see him on top of me. Billy had turned the story around and said that I had done it to him, and which wasn't true at all. I had the marks and everything on me at that time to prove it. I had still had, scratch marks on my arm from where he was trying to keep a hold of me. And I had even told Billy, I was like, show me your fucking lip where I fucking elbowed your ass. Show him. And he was like, no, I don't have to do anything, blah, blah, blah. And the principal didn't force it. And unfortunately, they had to expel me because he was underage at the time.
Inconsistencies in his story had raised a few eyebrows, which led people to investigate themselves, which resulted in Blind Billy telling his side of the story to the internet, to the dismay of Chance, who promptly began threatening Billy. Chance would not face repercussions for this event, which would go on to fuel his ego and sense of entitlement. Sometime after the Blind Billy incident, Chance would throw himself off the roof of his school after he was dared, and in classic Cyraxx fashion, when confronted with why he did this, Chance lied, saying he was pushed by other students and went on to file a fake police report. After statements were taken and the narrative was reviewed, Chance was discovered to be lying once again, putting him in even worse standing with the school than he had already been. It was also during this time in 2013 that Chance and his then girlfriend Heather had an active beef with Eric Scrubolo after Chance had taken his record label dog tags and thrown them into the river or lake, whatever. Chance would then go on to cheat on Heather, break up with her, and then start dating a different Heather. A year later in 2014, Chance was expelled from Garfield High. Now, it is speculated that multiple factors played into the banishment of Chance from the education system. The three main ones are the previously mentioned Blind Billy incident and false police report, as well as the fact that Chance had surpassed the legal age limit to attend high school, which is 22 in the state of Ohio, with Chance being 23 at the time. Cyraxx has a record out here putting even the most seasoned super seniors to shame. Chance's formative years up until early adulthood seemed to be nothing more than a grim prelude to what was to come later in his life. We have already seen him commit various crimes in addition to just being a terrible person in general. Soon, Chance's actions online will catch up with him, as he would attract the attention of an army of online and in-person trolls who are still to this day hell-bent on making his life as miserable as possible. However, that's a story for next time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.